Tony, this one is just for you. Are you ready? What state is Red Tornado's favorite?
State of emergency.
No, Windiana. It's the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube. Welcome to Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Great to have you here. Apologies for starting just a few moments late. There was a weather delay at a Fanboys location, and I'm not going to say who, but this time it wasn't me.
Wow, that narrows it down. You don't need to be a detective.
That's right.
Figure that one out.
Yeah. So, Signature King, outside of a little bit of weather issues, how is your day going? How was your week? What's new?
I got Monday off, and sort of the kids were looking forward to do some fun things. But other than that, it was it was productive. Happy to say.
Very nice. Well, it's great to be back for another edition of Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. I thought we'll jump over and start talking about what's going on in the world of DC Comics news-wise. I can start out by saying that DC has announced their first major crossover for 2025.
Oh.
It's DC's We Are Yesterday, and it's going to begin in April. It's going to be a 6-part crossover that introduces the Legion of Doom. And it's going to be found in the pages of Batman Superman World's Finest, Justice League Unlimited, and the Batman Superman World's Finest 2025 Annual. And look for issues to be going on sale throughout the month of April.
Wow, that's exciting.
Who's your favorite member of the Legion of Doom?
Sinestro.
That's a good one.
Sinestro.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Hands down. What about you?
Cheetah.
Cheetah? Okay. Classic. Classic.
Yeah, I like the Cheetah. And I like Cheetah from the Super Friends cartoon, and the way she talked. That was pretty cool. So
I like the Cheetah where she's just a girl in a cheetah hoodie, essentially.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. If you're watching on the Rewind, we want to say hello to you, and we also want to say hello as we continue the DC Comics news in a moment with our live chat that started out with Muabunga to White Tiger Cool, Calm, Collected. It's great to have Ruben here in the chat with us too. And then Christina has stopped by. Big hug to you, and hope that you've had a great week and a good weekend as well. And she's already dropping links.
Oh, look at that. Thank you.
Start subscribing. And there's links in the description for this video to sub up the panel members, even the ones that aren't here. Our guest from last week, Cliff on Comics, is with us too. And in just a minute, when I get back into the news, I'll be mentioning something that throws back to when Cliff was on the show with us last week.
Oh.
So it's great to have Cliff here in the chat too. And like I said, if you're watching on the Rewind, that's pretty cool as well. So jumping back into the news, DC has announced some more facsimiles, and they're more modern based this time. You remember last week we read Action Comics 775 with Manchester Black, and that's the one that Cliff did the retro review on?
Yeah.
That's going to be a facsimile.
Perfect.
Look at that. Yeah, exactly. So that Action Comics 775 facsimile will be coming out on June 4th. Also announced Batman 655 facsimile on July 16th. A Detective Comics 880 facsimile on August 6th. Here's one that you'll be happy about, Tony. Harley Quinn #1 facsimile August 13th. And Batman 635 facsimile edition on September 3rd. And all of these facsimiles will have those carded Superpowers variant covers that look like they're action figures. Every one of those will have variants.
That's awesome.
That includes that. So yeah,
very exciting for all you facsimile people out there.
I'm one of those facsimile people.
I just can't do it. I try, I really do, but I just
see. I'm surprised that you're not getting behind that the upcoming first John Constantine facsimile.
I'd rather own the real deal.
Okay, is that going to happen
someday?
Yeah, someday. Okay.
Someday. I feel like that's something. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the expensive side, but like, it's still theoretically within reach. It's not like an Action Comics #1. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, I'll never ever own that. I can understand getting a facsimile for that, but
yeah,
some of the stuff that that's coming out in, let's say, in my lifetime, that's still obtainable. Like, I don't understand why they're doing facsimiles for that. Like, some of the facsimiles, like they just released one for Muhammad Ali and Superman.
mm-hmm.
Like, they had the facsimiles for that. My LCS also had regular issues.
Had the originals, yeah.
You could just buy.
Yep.
So I don't get it, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as it's selling, I guess that's all that really matters.
You take your kids to a free comic book day event, right?
Oh, every year.
That's what I thought. So DC has announced for their younger readers 2 titles for their free comic book day 2025. How about Superman's Good Guy Gang? That looks like that's going to get us ready for a movie that's coming out.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, and actually this is also a little bit of a teaser of an upcoming graphic novel. And the graphic novel, which is intended for readers like age 5 to 7, will be coming out in the summer, I believe. Do I have it? July 1st. So this free comic book day edition will be a little snippet of that. And they didn't leave me out, Tony, because we got Kango Tests and Tournaments, a Wonder Woman based one. Of course, Jumpa is Wonder Woman's kangaroo, and the full graphic novel for that is intended for readers age 8 to 12, so almost my inner age. And that will be coming out. Let's see when that's coming out. Let's see where that's coming out. But that will be coming out as well. I think it was July. Somewhere I thought I read it would be July. So, but anyway, those are 2 of the announcements that are confirmed to be part of Free Comic Book Day 2025 this year.
Are you going to show the big one for Free Comic Book Day for DC?
Which one is that?
The Absolute Universe 2025 Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, is it? I actually didn't see it.
It's on the same page. It's all the way up.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Let me go back. Okay, then let me share that. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, that was my news too, but I was like, yeah, you're already talking about it.
Yeah. Let me just jump back and we'll share that as well.
It looks like an interesting, that right there. Yeah, it looks interesting.
DC All-In Absolute Universe 2025. That does look interesting. I like the cover on the right.
Yeah.
With the pieces of the issue #1s for Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah.
I don't know why, but the Superman on the left, just something about the face looks weird.
It does look a little weird.
But this one I'm excited for. I've been really getting into the Free Comic Book Day limited edition. It said there's also an additional foil cover by Raphael Albuquerque.
Nice.
Will be available for purchase for $4.99.
Nice.
So I'm probably going to pick that up. I've picked up every single year they've offered a foil, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Very nice. Oh, who's texting you?
Well, just power company. Heads up.
Oh, okay.
They're sending crews out in our neighborhood, and I look at the map because our power company has like a grid. The other side of the town, the other side of the road, is still out. So if I cut out, that's why. Just keep going.
Okay, I'll try my best.
I'll get like a flashlight, and then I'll use it on my phone.
Yeah. Okay. Fire and Ice are getting a 6-issue limited series starting on April 9th. I
pre-ordered that.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, the foil edition looks pretty cool.
Foil, yeah, very cool. So,
does your LCS use the Comic Hub app?
I don't believe so. I'm familiar with it from when the 10 minutes I was
the few minutes you were there, yeah. But it's a blessing and a curse. Because what's great about it is you can see all the covers that are going to be released for that book. The problem with it is you can pre-order all the covers unless it's like a crazy 1 in 100 variant or 200. Some of the ratio incentives they might not be able to get because maybe they don't order that many. But yeah, if they have like a crazy limited edition foil, like you can just bloop, add it to your order, and then you go to your comic book shop and it's right there.
Yeah.
Which is how I got tonight's book show.
Ooh, look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Hopefully the power will sustain.
Hopefully.
Anything else going on news-wise?
That's really about it. I mean, it's kind of slow. I can't really think of anything, or I kept my eye out, but the only one that really popped up was Free Comic Book Day. So
yeah. And I mean, there was some questions about Free Comic Book Day just in general because of Diamond going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I completely forgot about that.
But
it's gonna roll.
I mean, more than likely, it's.
Well, DC doesn't use Diamond. They haven't used Diamond.
They don't, but I mean, they did participate in the Free Comic Book Day offering. So more than likely, if they don't, Lunar or some other company will step up to the plate and take care of it.
Oh, I would bet dollars to donuts. It's still gonna go on, like it never happened. So
yeah,
yeah, Free Comic Book Day is a big deal, and I know a lot of shops, local shops near me, like they really use that as a day to like push revenue.
Sure,
they'll have some kind of big sale, like 20% off store wide.
Yeah, comic book stores will have literally have lines outside to get into the store on that day.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, I like it. The kids like it. I like to buy the little toys. I like to get the free books.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Sounds that way. Very nice. Well, if there's no other news, we can segue over into the retro review. Tonight, this is your pick.
Yes.
You want to talk about, it's going to be Justice League 3000 issues 1 and 2. Do you want to talk about why you picked these tonight? Other than the fact that it was your turn to pick something?
Yeah. Well, I love Justice League stories.
I do too.
And they're some of my favorites. And I love kind of like Elseworlds multiversal stories as well. So this was a no-brainer. I can do really two things at the same time. So that was kind of it. And by chance, when I was looking through what book to pick, you had sent me a reminder to pick. I was like, oh yeah, right here. It's already in my hand. Like, let's do this. So yeah, that's literally how it went. I can't say like, oh, this is my favorite run. Honestly, I had picked up I think I picked up the whole run, but I never read it.
Because I think it was a 15-issue run.
Yeah, I was going to say 15, 16, something.
Yeah. If you want to pull up are you able to pull up the assist while we talk?
It looks okay.
Okay, good.
So we'll see. Apologize if that's not the case. Let's do here.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know, the site where we would use these books has gone out. They no longer exist. I can't transition to the other main one, because it doesn't like my ad blocker. It makes me turn it off. When I turn it off, we get bombarded with spaghetti
boobies.
Sauce.
Yeah, spaghetti sauce and boobies.
Spaghetti sauce and boobies. It sounds great, but YouTube doesn't like that.
Yeah, YouTube is not into spaghetti sauce or boobies. So here's the cover. That's actually a virgin version of the cover for issue 1, which I'm going to do the retro review. And I'll tell you, I will mention this more towards the end when we're wrapping up, but just based on this cover, because I didn't know a whole lot about this, I'm like, this looks like the Crime Syndicate to me from Earth 3, but it's not. It's not.
Do you know what Earth this is?
Isn't it? Wait a minute. No, I don't.
It is Earth 19.
Oh, Earth 19. Okay.
Yes.
I do know. Go ahead.
In the Flash TV series, they go to Earth 19 for like a hot second. If you remember the character Gypsy, she had traveled to Earth 19 to hand that version of the Flash, who you see here pictured, who's also called the Accelerated Man, on that world. I forget what the plot was. We handed her something and he took off, and his lightning, I don't know why they didn't do it in this story, but traditionally his lightning is purple.
Oh, yeah.
So he's one of the few Flashes with purple lightning.
I usually don't like to stop the once we begin the retro review to say hi to someone in the chat, but I'm going to this time because we're just getting ready to start. But Just a Little Podcast is here, who dropped a great video. Please do me a favor, and if you're not subscribed to Just a Little Podcast, let's get Cookie up to 500. Link. He understands what link means, so.
Yeah, they're trying to click on your shirt to go to John's channel, but it's not working.
I know, exactly. Click here. Comics with Kids. But yes, it's Earth 19. I do know that if you want to go to the next page, that we're early in the 31st century as issue 1 starts. And they're talking about how the mighty have fallen, not to mention the powerless and the weak. Not that long ago we were living in, when they say, well, maybe it wasn't paradise, but it was close. They said there were some wars, but overall, poverty, hunger, and disease were almost non-existent. And they said self-important old men still sent the young marching off to the occasional war, but most of us didn't have the stomach for it. Peace was the order of the day. The Commonwealth was stable, life was good, and then 10 years ago, the 5 came. So they say 10 years, man, it feels like 10,000. Billions died that first day. As implants failed, life support systems crashed, government toppled, entire armies were taken out. The power went across 1,000 worlds. And we were all left in the dark. So they talk about how this resistance rose up and was quickly squashed. There were no room for heroes in this new cosmic order, but some wanted heroes in the worst way. And that's exactly what they got. And she says, no, it really was all of me. And me is Ariel Masters, who you're seeing pictured right there. And she's being caught. She's being warned to surrender. And if you surrender, you will spare yourself considerable suffering. And she's like, well, I'm not really going to do that. I've been escaping you for months. I don't see any reason why I can't right now. She crashes through this window on the next page, and they go after her. She's out in a crowd, and she has this H suit, which will camouflage her and screw with their sensors. But the bad news about using this is they're now going to know that she has this, and the next time that she goes to use it, it's not going to be easy for her to escape as it is right now. And they're looking for her. They can't find her. And she's like, it's a hell of a life, if you could even call it that. I could blame the project. I could blame the twins, but this is all on me. So we cut over now, and we are over to the mobile planet called Cadmusworld. And they're talking about, and we're not sure at first who's talking, but someone's talking about a Holocaust. We're not a Holocaust. We're saving the universe. And they're saying, hey, I know that's what you like to say and what they like to see, but that's not the way Ariel sees it. That's why she keeps running. And they're like, well, let her run. Who needs her? And they're like, well, we really need her. And we find out on the next page who is talking are these 2 twins. And their names, it's a boy and a girl twin, and each one is named Teri. There's Teri, the girl, and the boy, Terry. And later on, you'll find out that they are referred to as the Wonder Twins. So as Terry and Teri are talking with each other, you find out that they're in charge of this major project, and they possibly suggest to have Ariel Masters killed. And, the female Teri says, well, you don't really have the guts to do that. She was at one time our friend and our mentor. And Teri, the boy, says exactly, and she knows what could destroy Cadmus in the future with it. And the other Teri's like, his sister's like, well, she doesn't seem like a whistleblower. And they're like, should we really take this risk or not? And they said, hey, it's not about us. It's a group of the greatest heroes who ever lived. She says, please, you can feed that nonsense to the board, but not to me. I know too much. And he says, look, our implants are programmed to cut us in if anything goes wrong. And she says, which will happen, so we might as well just get ready for that. And he says, have a little confidence. This is the Justice League we're talking about. And she says, I know you think so. Me? I'm not exactly so sure. And there we get a full page splash of what this Justice League in the year 3000 is like. And they are in a mission right now. Superman is saying, is this fun or what? And Batman gets a message from Teri. Our emergency alert just went off. They're checking in to see what's going on. And he says it's hundreds of frothing homicidal lunatics trying to tear us limb from limb. And they're like, hundreds? That's impossible. He's like, well, feel free to count them if you want. And they say, well, we're kind of on our way to help out, but I'm sure the Justice League can handle this. And Superman comes in because he sees that Batman looks like he's about to get overwhelmed, and he refers to himself in the third person. Well, Superman is. I don't know about the rest of you. Superman's better. And Batman's like, why do you refer to yourself in the third person? He's like, because the name has power, and people hear it and they drop to their knees in awe when they realize that it's actually me, the legend come to life. Well, he flies a Batman out of there, and he's like, there's nothing to be ashamed of to be saved by Superman, because that's what he does. He protects the weak and the powerless. Well, Batman, of course, doesn't like this, and he says, get your hands off me. And he places this little orb right on his temple, and it goes off, and he's able to escape. In the meantime, we have Flash and Green Lantern now that are working on trying to calm this crowd down. And Flash says, hey, we're still best of friends. Or, excuse me, Green Lantern says, hey, we're still best of friends, right? And Flash says, are we? Or are we just programmed to think that we are? And Green Lantern says, I seem to remember your personality being a little sunnier. He's like, look, times change. Although from the looks of things, Wonder Woman hasn't. And she's mad. And she's like, you inhuman scum, I will crush you all like insects. And they're like, well, I kind of seem to remember her being a little less bloodthirsty. And they get a heads up. Batman saves the Green Lantern from a near sniper hit. And Superman flies in to take care of things. He says, what's up, Batman? You saved Green Lantern, and that's just fine. But if I save you, it's some type of crime against humanity. And Batman's like, yeah, that's essentially it. And he's like, well, in case you haven't noticed, Superman saved you again. He's like, don't bother to thank me. I can see the gratitude gleaming in your eyes. Or is it just petty jealousy? He's like, jackass, one of these days, I swear. And then Green Lantern's like, one of these days you're going to push him too far and he'll crush your pointy head like a ripe melon. Don't forget it's Superman. He's like, how can I forget when he's constantly reminding us? So the two Wonder Twins there are watching and saying, see? And they're like, what? He's like, Superman and Batman despise each other. You don't see anything wrong with that? And he's like, well, it's just some minor neural adjustments that we might be able to make. And they're like, we can't mess with them anymore. We're lucky that they're as close to the original templates as they are. And he's like, close, they are the original. And she's like, no, they're not. She's like, all of our assumptions have been based on questionable legends and from the fragmented accounts of the era that survived the Great Disaster might be just as inaccurate. So Batman is getting ready to get his head bashed in, by the convert. And they said, we demand you to surrender. And Superman's like, we, and they turn around and they see that Wonder Woman and the rest of the JLA have pretty much taken care of everyone. And they're like, you're the only one still standing. So if you value your life, this might be a good time to give it up. So they're like, but Justice League, we know that you have compassion and heroes don't kill. And Wonder Woman says, perhaps that was true 1,000 years ago. But as the Flash is so fond of observing, times have changed. He says, well, kill us if you must, but the convert hive mind is spreading across the galaxy like an infection. Our numbers grow every day. We're in an age of where we offer power. Their faith, in turn, makes us stronger. And together, and Superman's just had enough of this guy already and just kind of keels him out. And they're like, hey, you could have let him finish his sentence first. You're lucky that you didn't kind of kill him with a punch that strong. And Wonder Woman's like, yes, I could have tortured him to get the information that we needed. And Batman and Superman are back needling each other again. And they're getting ready to almost get into a fist fight right there. And it gets broken up by Green Lantern. Then the Wonder Twins have arrived and they said, that did it. Home, all of you. We're getting out of here. Give me 1 second here, please. Apologies for that. And then, bam, they are back home. They're away. They've been transported. And Batman's like, if the Wonder Twins want this mess cleaned up, let them send in a crew. And you're like, they hate that name. And Batman's like, that's all the more reason to use it. And he's like, they're not Green Lantern's like, they're not bad kids. He's like, they look at us like we're lab rats. And Flash is like, well, aren't we? And he's like, you really were sunnier back in the day. Wonder Woman adds, the past is dead, my friends. We must focus on the road ahead and ask Superman if there's something on his mind. And he's thinking about old times, and he's really thinking about how nice it would be to stir the spaghetti sauce with her. And she lets him know that she is not interested, even if in the past perhaps she might have been interested back then. There is not going to be any spaghetti sauce stirring between the two of them going on, because she doesn't care. So, Flash adds in, remember, we're the Justice League, but we're not. Am I the only one who thinks that this is the stupidest idea ever? So Wonder Twins are back talking again. And they said, well, they won a battle, but, there's a major war ahead of time. What are we going to do about this? And you better get up with the program, sis. Corporate's going to want results, big results sooner than later. We have to take this to the next level. And she's like, well, what's the next level? And he's like, liberation of the Commonwealth and the adjacent star systems. And she's like, well, that's one hell of a level. And he's like, well, you don't have faith in that? He's like, you're such a pessimist. There's a difference. We can get this done. We're the Wonder Twins. And she's like, I thought you hated that name. He says, the old farts around here use it to mock us, and I say we wear it as a badge of honor. She's like, where's the honor going to be when we fail? This was Ariel's baby, and he's like, we took her theories and proved them. We saw the project through to the end. And she's like, but we don't know how this is going to play out. And he says, we saw how it played out today. They were magnificent. And she says, they were lucky. The convert was controlling a civilian mob, but you can bet out there somewhere he's sinking a psychic teeth into a trained army. And he's like, we'll deal with this. And the rest when the time comes. So they're talking about this 5 again, this source that we haven't seen yet. The ones that have caused all these problems that we mentioned at the beginning of the issue. And we start cutting into a debrief that the Wonder Twins are giving with all the different members of the League. And, they say, I thought Clark was going to tear Bruce's head off. Superman scares the hell out of me. Wonder Woman saying, I know the biomite implants will keep my muscles in optimum condition, but I prefer keeping in shape the old-fashioned way. Green Lantern's talking about how the cloak can mimic the ring's abilities, but it's not the same. There's a fusion that happens. My will and imagination channel through the ring, becoming the emerald energy, and essentially he wants a ring. And Superman is like, why am I developing these weapons? Why would I be doing this if I thought this was such a lousy idea? Because I've died before. I didn't enjoy it, and I don't intend to do it again. He says, look, I'm prepared to take this team in hand and whip them into shape, just say the word. But my first day in command, I kicked Bruce Wayne's butt to the curb. Cut back to the Flash. Force fields are holding up fine now anyway, but did you ever figure out why it came out with a friction aura? Wonder Woman saying Barry's the weak link. Do you know that he throws up every time that we travel in the Travelverse? And Green Lantern's like, I really need a ring. And Superman saying, hey, the whole set, what are we, action figures? And if you look behind him, there's a woman, appears to have been walking out of his chambers. So apparently there was some spaghetti sauce getting stirred somewhere.
They're having pasta.
Yes. So Superman is working on these mechanics. The Flash is wondering what type of alternative they had. Wonder Woman, when asked about Bruce, says, Bruce, I night in my bed and he'll be ready for anything. And she says, am I ready? What the hell do you think? Green Lantern says, we're the Justice League. We were born ready. And Superman's like, don't feed me any of that restoring order to the universe chaos crap. I don't buy it or anything else you've been selling us. Cadmus was built on hidden agendas. And he says, well, I've got my own hidden agendas as well. Does that make you nervous? He's like, well, if anyone's butt should be kicked, it's Kent's. And now this is Bruce Wayne talking. If anyone's butt should be kicked, it's Kent's. And you know what? I'm just the guy to do it. So he kind of goes storming off. So we got Superman without the Kent's guiding hands, a Batman without the motivating trauma of his parents' death, a Wonder Woman too close to peer Amazon for comfort, a Flash whose powers might burn him alive, and the sole remaining Green Lantern, the most despised organization in the universe. That's their team right now, as the Wonder Twins are recapping. And the male Teri says, you missed the fact that they're the Justice League, the greatest heroes who ever lived. And she says, lived, past tense. We should let them rest in peace. And he's like, you don't mean that. And she's like, yes, I do. When Ariel proposed the idea of taking genetic samples that Cadmus had been jealously guarding for centuries, cracking the code and bringing 5 legends back to life, it was exhilarating. But the reality, he's like, hey, it's a challenge. But the League thrives on challenge, and so do we. And she adds, Teri, they're playing at being a team, but they don't really know each other or even like each other. He says, I don't like you, and we've done pretty well. And she's like, well, you don't have to like me because we're family. And I think that beneath that confusion and bickering, those five are a family as well. And she says, well, maybe, or maybe the qualities that once bound them together were lost in the regeneration process along with half of their memories. He's like, what are we going to do? Give up? You can go to the next page. He says, no, there's so much writing on this. And if we fail, the male Teri says, I told you we never fail. Of course, if you'd like Cadmus to boot our butts to the curb, and she's like, I'd like to see them try. I mean, we're the Wonder Twins. He's like, yep, that's the Teri I know. She's like, we didn't put our hearts and souls into this project just to see those five dissected by the five. And he says, small steps we haven't got the luxury of. And she's like, we played this my way, Teri, or I swear to you, I'll go AWOL the same way Ariel did. He's like, okay, fine, small steps. We'll watch them carefully, analyze their every thought and movement, and see what this Justice League can really do, but try not to worry so much. I mean, and then we cut to the final page of this issue, and Batman and Superman are about to go at it. They're trying to hold Superman back. Superman's saying, I'm going to incinerate you with my heat vision, you annoying little twit. He says, fact check, you don't have heat vision. He's like, then I'll do it with my bare hands. And the Wonder Twins were saying, after all, how bad could it get? Well, that's how bad it could get as issue 1 comes to an end. And you see next exactly how bad it can get. So you can take it away for issue 2.
Yes. So let's see if I can just continue issue 2 right here. And I can. Okay, perfect. So yeah, here's a great cover shot of our issue 2. Now issue 2 makes a little bit more sense. Some of that stuff that you read kind of pays off in this issue 2. So we go to the Pharrell system on the fringes of Commonwealth space. And there's some kind of like robotic thing, and it turns out it's the big teleporter that they've been using. So they come through, and Superman is the first one to chime in and says, what a dump. And it turns out that, technically Batman or Superman was right. Batman's doing some kind of analytics on it and says, this is an empty planet. There's really nothing here. And the Flash says, hey, I think I need to sit down again. I'm not feeling very well. And Wonder Woman is chiming back like, hey, I don't understand how you get sick. You're the fastest man alive. And all of a sudden we start doing some kind of like, what do they call it? The travel verse? Trevor? I don't know what they call it. Going through the portal, and that somehow makes you sick. You're faster than anything we know, and that makes you sick. It doesn't make any sense. And the Wonder Twins are like, look, here comes a big test. We're about to really see what the Justice League can do. Let's put them up against this big threat to this planet. And Green Lantern grabs them in their bubble. They don't know it yet, but they're walking into some kind of big trap. Not really a trap, so to speak, more like a test to see what they're really capable of. And they go into orbit, and they're coming back down onto this planet here. But Superman is kind of jumping the gun a little bit, and he's kind of flying off to do his own thing. We cut to, and this kind of reminds me of the Oblivion Bar mixed with the Cantina from Star Wars, because you have a whole lot of like alien critters and just a whole lot of rough and tough dudes. I don't know why, but I was getting those vibes. But and here we have this young lady who's she's going through some stuff, and here she sure has she's going through what looks to be like a breakup, going through some kind of breakup, and she has a really good line here. Let's see, where is it? Right here. Truth is, I was going sick of him anyway. Guy didn't have any 1 ounce of romance in his soul, and he always drooled on me when we kissed. If he would have waited a couple of days, I would have broken up with him. But he kind of, he had to go and screw around behind my back. I might have missed it, but she was given a description of the other woman, so to speak, and it was pretty interesting. The robot bartender is, attending to her as a bartender does, emotional needs via alcohol. And he's saying, hey, try this drink out. It's really cheap. It's gonna make you feel a lot better. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. So she has a couple of drinks, and um, he's saying like, listen, I know how things can be. You can't beat yourself up, so to speak. But and he has a great line here. Because, my dear, you've been skulking here for days. I know that one for sure way to lift your spirits. So he's kind of sending her off in this direction where Justice League is. So the Justice League is coming around back, so to speak, and they're they don't know what they're walking into. They're in a big city. They really don't want to. How do I explain this? Like, okay, so it's not the real Justice League, but they still have some kind of emotions of the Justice League. They still have some type, one small ounce of morals, where they don't really kill people. Maybe they do now, but they also don't go in like a big city and just start, bringing down the house and fighting recklessly and putting innocent lives at in harm's way. And they're talking about at this particular planet there are billions and billions of people who are enslaved, and the five aren't. These five humans. We're not demigods. Like, we can't just walk in there and demand they be released. No one's going to listen to us. So Barry kind of takes point here, and he zips around. He comes across this same person who's at the bar, kind of waiting for them, and they don't really take much notice of her, but I guess they've been briefed. And Hal Jordan says, Locus, I presume. And she replies, oh, handsome and perspective. This is going to be a lot of fun. The rest of Justice League is fairly confused about where she came from. And Superman comes up, puts his hand on her, and says, hey, we're going to talk about this. We're not going to do this the way you think. And she says, let me give you a little history lesson here, Superman. We've never been friends, and I'm also going to give you a lesson on humility. And she kind of knocks him out of oblivion, and he just goes flying. Hal Jordan, not much of a match for her. She makes do of him pretty fast. Wonder Woman goes and tries her luck, grabs her by the collar like you would a cat, which is pretty funny. She slams Wonder Woman to the ground, and she says, "Hey, like one girl to the next, not today, unfortunately." Batman has like these, I don't know what you call them. They almost look like Red Lantern constructs. These like things that he was just kind of throwing at her. But they don't really do anything to her. They just kind of blow up, and she doesn't kind of react. She has no reaction at all. So it seems to be the only person who really can do anything to Locus is Superman, which is really weird. So Accelerated Man, a Flash, comes back, and he's like, sorry I took so long, guys. You won't believe what happened here. Locus is already here. That's crazy. Locus throws Superman at Barry Allen. They both go flying. And she has, I don't know how to explain this. She has this really unique power where she can kind of manipulate reality. It almost gives you vibes of a vibe, so to speak, where she can say in this particular panel, everybody kind of freeze, and that's exactly what happened. She mixes them up or freezes them, and they're stuck on the track, and she's able to mix up kind of like their DNA, which I thought was pretty cool. And she's able to shrink down in this panel. She shrinks down Green Lantern and just eats him, puts him in her mouth and starts chewing. And I thought that was pretty funny. but somehow the Justice League is, they're really incapacitated here. They can't really do anything. And she's like, why not? I'm going to bring in the rest of these guys, and we're going to bring you to jail. Yeah, not jail, but we're going to hold you captive. And that kind of wraps up this issue, and we kind of leave for issue 3 right here, the Dark Age right here, which I thought was pretty funny. No, I'm sorry, that's going into issue 3. So this is our last panel for issue 2, leaving on a cliffhanger where everyone is incarcerated, except for the Flash. He was able to get away. So Green Lantern was eaten, Flash ran away. So that leaves us with the Holy Trinity, but they are incapacitated, held captive.
Yeah, not used to seeing the Justice League like that.
No.
Okay, so thoughts about these stories in these 2 issues?
I like it. I really like these otherworldly issues or these otherworldly stories. And if I had the time, I would definitely continue to keep reading these stories. I'm very intrigued in how this is going to end. So, total what we read so far, I'm going to go 8 out of 10. I know it's kind of early, but we only got 2 issues to work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that when you're launching a series, especially the first issue, if not the first couple issues, are the hardest ones to do because you're laying the land and trying to figure out who these characters are, how they interact with each other. I thought that they did a good job on this because it made me want to, I picked up pretty fast who these characters are and that they're DNA clones essentially of the originals. Yep. And the animosities between each other. And it's not like the Justice League that just because they're based on the originals doesn't give them the same personalities as the originals. Right. But I thought they did a very good job in these first 2 issues in establishing who everyone was until they said in the first issue that the twins were the Wonder Twins, which I thought was a nice nod because it's not exactly Zan and Jaina that we're used to. Until they said that, yeah, Teri and Teri. Until they said that, or once they said that, I should say, things really cleared up. I liked it. I'll go 8 out of 10 as well. It's something that if I did continue to read, I would be interested enough to keep going.
So when these came out, obviously New 52 was, I believe, right in the middle of the road. What did you think of New 52 overall?
So I didn't buy a whole lot outside of New 52 than Wonder Woman.
Okay.
But I didn't mind New 52 at all. So, Cookie's saying that it has a good hook to it, so I would have to agree to it. Yeah.
I liked New 52. And
yeah, I actually know that. I could tell that you do. And if you look back at our previous streams, we do a lot of New 52 for retro reviews.
We do. And maybe that's my fault. I'm pretty... It's weird because after New 52, it really... The quality of the book and the stories kind of went downhill, in my opinion. And we had Future State, which was total bomb, or 5G, or whatever they're going to call it. And it really, DC kind of spun its wheels in the mud a little bit until it got to Absolute, and it got a little bit better before that. Was it before Absolute? It was, I forget, All In?
Yeah, well, All In and Absolute happen so close to each other, Yeah,
and it's weird because we still have Absolute now, and we still have All In right now.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like getting both best of both worlds. But yeah, I like these stories. Keith Giffen, the writer on this, and J.M. DeMatteis, I can never pronounce his name. These are 2 big guys in the industry.
Yeah, who know the Justice League.
Who definitely know the Justice League. Didn't Keith Giffen pass away recently? I feel like
yes, I believe he did.
And that's a shame. I know. I think JM is still around. I don't recall though, and I don't want to guess. But yeah, the great talent on this run. Like I said, I wish we had more time. We could really dive deep into this, but it's a good story, and I highly recommend it. So if you see, I see this whole run. My LCS has this whole run for sale in a pack. I think the pack is only just like $10 or $11 for all the issues. So
That's less than $1 an issue then.
Less than $1 an issue. So
Yeah. And what was cover price on it?
$2.99.
Oh, that's when they were drawing the line at $2.99.
They drew the line at $2.99, and then someone behind them came back with whiteout.
Yep.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Good story, good universe. I miss you, New 52.
Yeah, something fun to check out and to read as well. So
yeah,
that brings us to the book show portion and talking about our channels. Which would you like to do first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I can show off my book, which is from, I got it on the my LCS does the comic hub, where I can look at all these different covers and kind of pick my own, which is both good and bad. Bad because I usually end up picking like the most expensive foil cover, and that's what I did. For this one I picked up Green Lantern Corps #1, Jessica Jones, or not Jessica Jones, Jessica Cruz, and Kyle Rayner. Who knows? Maybe Jessica Jones would be a Green Lantern if she was in the DC universe. And this was the cover F, the foil cover. Cover F, foil. I thought that was pretty neat. So yeah, this was my latest cool foily pickup. Lots more coming on the way for sure. But as for a channel, I'm taking a small break until I'm out of YouTube jail, which should be about a week or so. Happens to my channel every now and then. I get put in YouTube jail, and then they send me the email that says they have to verify my identity like 10 times a year because I don't have channel history, even though
I never
over
get that.
1,000 subs.
I'm definitely not on their radar. They're like, yeah, we're never going to get that guy to 1K. Don't even bother with him.
Don't even bother. Well, I was getting it when I was in the 800s. I was definitely getting it. Yeah. In fact, I remember getting it at like 300 or 400.
Wow.
Some of the earliest ones I remember. But it happens every year. They say, we don't know who you are. You have to verify your identity through channel history. So I have to upload a bunch of videos. And then they'll give me some features back. And then we'll just play this game back and forth a few times a year. But one more cool thing I want to show. If I could find it. Right here. So my LCS does a membership.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first year they've done it. So I signed up immediately to show my support. So a lot of cool things you get. If you become a member, you get just exclusive stuff. Like I have this coupon for 25% off a one-time purchase or a free CGC submission of a standard modern comic. So I'm going to use one of these. But I also, they give everyone here an exclusive members only t-shirt.
Nice.
So this was the this year's run, or this year's shirt. So yeah, I'm going to take good care of the shirt because I like it.
Yeah.
And continue to show my support for my LCS, and I hope they bring it back next year. So now I just have to find a cool one-time purchase. I'm going to blow this 25% off coupon on. I have a few things in mind that are comic book related, but I want to hold off until I see this really awesome back issue that I just can't live without. I almost pulled the trigger on a Batman Beyond #1, like original, like #1, not like a Six Flags variant, but it was a second print. I was like, never mind. But yeah, that's what's going on with me.
Maybe they'll end up getting first John Constantine, and you can use it on that.
Though they have a few in right now, but not quite the condition I'm looking to get. So I'm going to hold out a little bit longer, I think.
Okay.
But that's it for me.
Okay. So on my channel this past week, I did a back issue of the week, and I delved into a romance comic book because there was Valentine's Day just recently, and I don't have a lot of romance comic books, but I did dig one out and feature that as the back issue of the week. Tomorrow's back issue of the week is based or inspired, I should say, by the new Marvel movie that is in theaters now. So it just came out. So that's tomorrow's. And I didn't do a comic book editions video this past week. I was testing something out with YouTube algorithm to see what would happen if I didn't do one. But there is one coming out this upcoming week. And Christmas is not over for me because I got a belated Christmas gift. And I unbox it. And you'll see some DC and Marvel stuff inside of that. It's from my friend Mr. Fridge Art, who's not on YouTube, but is on Instagram. And we've been friends for decades. And we communicate every single day. And that's what I unbox.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
For a book show, Justice League is sort of like Super Friends. So here's the first issue of Super Friends #1. And then just while Tony was doing his retro review, I was like, ooh, I should have grabbed a Super Friends that had the Wonder Twins in it because the Wonder Twins were in the story. So I was going to grab their first appearance, which I have, but I couldn't get a hold of that as fast as I wanted to. But I grabbed this issue, number 26, which has Wonder Twins on the cover. And cool. Just thought I'd share that too. And I have the entire run of Super Friends. There's some that I would like to upgrade my copies of. But I do have the entire, 50-plus issue Volume 1 run. So but that's what I thought I would do for a book show tonight.
Yeah, that's very unique.
Different.
I don't see too many Super Friends issues out in the wild.
It's weird. I see Super Friends, but what I see is always the earlier issues. The later issues, to me, like issues, anything from 20 and beyond, really don't see ever. But I can see like the earlier issues and find those out in the wild.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So that's what I decided for a book show tonight.
Any upcoming comic shows?
No. No, not yet. Which is fine.
Still early in the year.
Yeah, it is. It is yet. I'm down to 9 Justice League books to complete Volume 1, and none of the 9 that I need are a key. None of them are a key. I have all the big keys already. Because
that makes it easy,
It does. The last big key I needed, I just got, which I showed a couple weeks ago, was the first Silver Age Red Tornado.
I love Red Tornado.
I got that. And that was like the last big key that I needed. Granted, there's a few books in there I wouldn't mind upgrading if the opportunity arises, but 9 books away. I just wonder now, which out of the 9 will be the last one I need?
That's going to be a feat, when you complete that run. I mean, that's incredible. How many people could say they did the entire Justice League run?
It's a long run.
Not many.
Yeah.
Not many. None that I know. You'd be the first one. So, random question for you. In this new James Gunn verse, obviously you're going to, really excited for any Wonder Woman news. But what's one character that we haven't seen get any screen time? What's one character?
You mean in really any way, shape, or form, or screen time the right way?
Screen time. Either one. I'll let you pick.
Black Canary.
Black Canary. Okay. Did she get any? I don't think she got any screen time.
Not in a Justice League, but she was in that Harley Quinn movie. And that was not.
That movie doesn't count. That movie's such a
then Black Canary.
Yeah. I mean, she was a great actress for that role. Just it's a shame that she was in such a terrible piece of hot garbage.
Yeah. Black Canary.
Black Canary,
great. Yeah.
Okay, I would go with Red Tornado.
I think Red Tornado would be pretty cool. He was on the Supergirl TV show, and when they put him on that, I thought he worked actually quite well on that show. And looked really good, and I liked it.
So when that show was on the air, I was working I didn't have any kids, and I think maybe I just got married. I was about to get married, so I had a lot more free time. But I worked third shift at my local hospital, running the technology side of the house, and I would have all the episodes lined up, for that week. Ready to watch. So when it came to be like 2 a.m. when we were dead, nothing to do, as I'm doing my data entry on this side, I could, watch Supergirl on this side. And I freaked out when they had Red Tornado on for the first time, I was like, no way!
Yeah.
Red Tornado! Like, yeah, that's so cool.
Supergirl, the TV show, you could tell the different, and you should be able to tell this by a TV show, but that show particularly, you could tell when different people were writing it, because sometimes the episodes would just be so good, and you're like, yes, this is exactly what I want. And then the next week, the show could be so bad, and it was a complete different writer. There were people that got that show and how to write that show, but they didn't write every show in that season.
Yeah, and they did that with it's a pretty common thing to do with TV shows.
It is, but you should have a consistency that you don't feel that.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Melissa Benoist was a great actress to play Supergirl.
Oh yeah, there's a great cast. Great cast for that character. But I mean, there's a lot of other storylines on there I thought were really stupid, but
yeah. Oh, and they tried being the devil. First season, they tried being the Devil Wears Prada, with a boss that was so difficult to work with. And there's only so much that, Callista Flockhart, there's only so much that you can do with that. Kevin Smith did a great job, in my opinion. LOL. Link. Say that, Tony. Say Link.
Rumor has it he's going to appear at Baltimore and New York City Comic Con this year, so I'm very excited. Kevin Smith.
Tony, you should look at Just a Little Podcast and then say Link.
Why?
Just trust me on this. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can, man.
Just do it.
It's not that I don't trust you.
I'm going to do it. Watch. Link. Now
what does that mean, though?
It means send the link. There's a show that he used to do that I want him to bring back and send the link so we can be guests on it.
Oh, yeah. Link, bro. Link all day. Let's get that link going. Heck yeah. Yes. Let's do it.
Yes. Thank you. Link. Yeah. I remind him of it all the time.
Kind of offensive. We got to ask more than once.
Yeah. In a week, I might ask him for the link about, let me think, about 28 times in a week.
If you do, let's say we're going to send him an A-OK, I would send him a postcard literally every single day, and all it would say is Link.
Oh, I like that. I do have his address, too.
Oh, well, there you go.
And for $9.95, you can have his address as well. Feel free to PayPal me, friends and family.
Yeah, right? You could get him one of those presents where you unwrap it and it's a bunch of those paper butterflies. Just go,
oh, yeah. He'd like that. Okay. $19.99.
That's true. He's got to get a cut.
Friends and family. Well, if he would do the Link show, there wouldn't be a problem.
There you go.
I even asked Meta AI if I should just message him and say Link, and Meta AI said I should. They said it's short and to the point.
There you go. It's funny you say that. We're using AI. We all had AI back when we were kids. It was a Magic 8 Ball.
Oh, yeah, Magic 8 Ball. Yeah, all signs point to yes.
All signs point to yes.
500 subs. 500
subs. What is he at right now? I don't remember.
I got him 2 yesterday. He's at like 400 and something.
Oh, he's right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everyone go make 2 Google accounts. We'll get him 500 subs tomorrow.
Yeah, then he'll be forced to do the Link show again.
Yeah, and then unsub and immediately. Yeah, no, Link. Don't do that.
Link. So, Tony, we have 1 minute and 8 seconds to kill.
All right.
So
let's kill it.
That's what we're gonna do. Any heading to the LCS this upcoming week?
Yeah. I placed some cool pre-orders. Still waiting for my CBCS order to come.
Oh yeah.
So excited. But it's gonna be forever because the deal was so good. People were submitting like 200 books at a time. So yeah. I'm sure they dug themselves a huge hole here.
Probably.
But it's gonna be a lot of fun. Very excited to get it. And I think there's some Wonder Woman in there. I think there's a little bit of Wonder Woman in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Some Nubia, I think, too.
Ooh. I like Nubia.
Yeah. Nubia and the Amazons. I'm excited for it. So excited. You have no idea. I check the boards and I check my status every single day.
That's cool. So Await the progress of that. Make plans to join us next week for our next edition of Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. Thank you for watching To Tonight Show. By the way, share a book show with us on Instagram using the hashtag Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.